Welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. This week I'm talking to Tara Cameron. We're going to be talking about her business, where it started, how it came about, and I'll just throw it over to you, Tara. If you just introduce yourself, a bit about yourself, where you grew up, and
Yeah, hi Elliot. Thanks for having me here today. So I grew up in Penrith and I've lived here my whole life, and in different suburbs, of course. And we love Penrith, but we're actually looking at moving.
Oh, yes, Sarah told me, you mentioned that you
Yes.
were thinking about Queensland.
Queensland,
Yeah.
yes. So once coronavirus is all done and dusted,
Yes.
we're hoping to get up there and enjoy the sunshine.
When?
Next year?
When?
Where? When?
Oh, no, when. You say when it finishes, but it's like, well, gee,
When
when's
is it
that?
going to finish? Yeah. I mean, as soon as we can, to be honest.
Yeah.
After January,
Mm-hmm.
which is really exciting. So, yeah.
Cool.
Hopefully.
And so you've grown up in Penrith
Yep.
your whole life.
Yep.
Matt as well?
Yeah, Matt lived in the hills area when he was little and then moved out here with his family. And, yeah, same thing in
Yeah.
Penrith. Yeah, since primary school.
Okay.
Went to high school, both of us. And then we met 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So today we're going to talk about your business and the name of your business.
By Tara Louise.
By Tara Louise. So prior to your business, what was it that you were doing with your life, your normal job you were doing?
Yeah, so I actually worked for one of the big four banks.
Oh, cool.
And I love finance. I love working with customers. It was a night shift though, so as good as it was very hard physically. So I would work 10-hour shifts overnight, finish at 7 a.m, and coming home at 8 o'clock. It was pretty draining. So once I had the kids, we had Mason, and then I kept working full time. But then I actually fell pregnant with Casey, our second son, and once he was born, I realised I wouldn't be going back to night shift. It's just too much. We couldn't juggle. We didn't want to put him into care full time, and Casey's born with a rare chromosome disorder, so he's got multiple disabilities. So that was really challenging, juggling that. So I knew that I wouldn't be returning to the bank, which was kind of sad in a way. Like, I thought, you go from being such a busy person and so independent to having children, and then especially knowing you can't return to that. It's really challenging as a woman. But when he was 5 months old, my mum passed away as well. So that was devastating.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah, it really shook us. And so I knew that I just wasn't able to go back to work. So we got through everything the first couple of years of Casey's medical conditions, and there was a lot of investigations, getting used to his needs and sorting out what does he need in the future. And then I was at a point where, what am I going to do? And then I thought, okay, I've always been creative. And I thought, how am I going to channel that? And what am I going to do that I can do at home around the children? I can work at night. So that's when I started to make jewellery.
Yep.
And I just fell in love with polymer clay, and I was making earrings and necklaces. And it was just so good, so much. It's like therapy.
Yeah.
Like once you're in a stressful situation and you have an outlet, such as a creative outlet, it's just like you're going to therapy every day. So that was a huge aspect of starting it as well, and then starting the business, and just pretty much took off from the beginning, and I just ran with it.
Yeah. What was, so you were always creative, you said. Was that prior to, obviously you talk about doing it after you realised you couldn't go back to full-time employment?
Yeah.
Were you thinking about it before, like while you were in full, was it only something that came about after?
No, it really just came about after. I think I've always had a feeling that, I wanted to be creative for a living, but I never knew how to go about that. And I think when you're not in that creative scene as such, it's hard to know what to do to get into that as well, especially not having a mentor or not being exposed to that, it's hard to know where to start.
Yeah.
You know, so you kind of have to find your feet right at the beginning. But I remember when I was a kid, and I would always ask people what their favourite colour is. Always. And I was lying in bed last night, and my daughter asked me the same question, and it clicked to me.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I don't think other people are as how do you say, like, focused on such things. You know, I think it's always been inside me.
Yeah.
And now I know how to get this colour out and share it with the world, and how to create and how to paint. And it's just, I feel like life experience and having that natural intuition for it, it's finally sort of put the pieces together.
Yep.
And it just felt like the right time to start was when I could stop full-time work and had extra time to put into it.
Yeah. And so what was the first point where you started? So you're thinking to yourself, I'm creative, I want to be able to do this. What was one of the first things that you did?
So I sat down and I thought, okay, I could do some digital art online and sell digital prints, because it didn't take up much space. At this point, actually, I had my daughter Ella as well. So at this point, I've got 3 kids under 5, or I think it was under 5 or under 4. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, she was a little baby, and I thought, okay, I've got to get the ball rolling now before, she goes to school. So by the time she's at school and all 3 kids are in school, then, when I'm at that point, I can be full-time in my business.
Yeah.
It's kind of, the groundwork's already done.
Yep.
I know what I'm doing. So I sat down, I started doing some digital art, and I didn't find it as stimulating, because I like to work with my hands a lot, and it was quite difficult for me to generate sales.
Yep.
And I just thought it's not as exciting.
Yep.
So I then was looking online, trying to get some inspiration, and then I just found this material, which was polymer clay. So I decided every night that I was going to sit down, once the kids were in bed, every night I was going to play with this clay. I was going to make something, and I said, I'm not stopping until I've, finished what I need to finish, and every day I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
And every day I sat down, I made a pair of earrings, or I made a necklace, or experimented with different colours and techniques. And I think that was the best thing that I could have done, is just doing it every day and just keep going. Because, you can start some things and then not know which direction to go or which direction to take, and then you things kind of fizzle out. But I had this determination that I was set. I'm like, this is going to be a business. I don't really know what I'm doing at the beginning. So I'm like, the only way to learn is to do something every day.
Yes.
So once I got the making down pat, I was like, okay, what else do I need for a business? You need social media, you need accounting, you need, different materials. And so I made it my quest, I think, to every day that I would do something. And now I'm about to go into my 3rd year, and it's more like a lifestyle.
Yep.
I'm just changing directions now from the jewelry making, which I'm still going to keep a little bit, maybe a quarter of the business will be jewelry making, but I'm moving more towards like painting, more workshops, and just seeing what the future holds.
Yeah. So the first thing you said was the digital printing.
Yeah.
Then you said you did that, and you sort of felt. Was there a point where you thought, where you was maybe a little bit down because you sort of gone into this digital prints thinking this is going to be it, but then you realise obviously as you do it, it's probably not what you want to do. Was there a moment where you thought, oh, maybe I just need to get a job, or?
No, never. I was always determined to find something that I could do at home, and it had to be something creative. So I was like, okay, what's next? Yeah.
And how has the process been? You said you're coming into your 3rd year, you said?
Yeah.
How has it been, sort of ups and downs, tell us about that.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting journey. I think there hasn't been too many downs. There's definitely been lessons learnt along the way, like where I should be spending my time. That's definitely something that you don't know until you've kind of gotten past different situations. But some of the best things have been networking. Networking online with different people, networking in person. There's a lot of business groups locally.
Yeah.
And that's how I met Sarah, through one of the local business groups. And, gaining stockists, that's been one of the best things that I've done. Like, so proud to have my work in the regional gallery on River Road in Emu Plains.
Yep.
So it's our Penrith Regional Gallery. So that was definitely one of my proudest achievements, because I just thought, there's different things you can do in business and where you feel successful. It's not always about the money, or it's not always about, one thing or another. It could just be something simple. And one of those was to have my work sold in the gift shop in there. And so I'm really proud to have achieved that.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing you say, success. I think today, people can get carried away with the word success and associate it with money, right?
Yes.
And they believe, if someone says, I got a success, like I'm selling my pieces at the local art gallery, some people might look at that and think, what? Like, that's nothing,
Yeah.
And I remember speaking on the podcast a while ago to someone, and we were talking about success. And, success is very subjective, it's... for some people it's money, for some people it's other things, and I think it's beautiful that you said that, that for you that was a success, having it sold at the art gallery, which is as you said yourself, something that you always, you quite like knowing that you got some of your art or some of your products at the art gallery.
Yeah.
How much of what you're doing has been sort of learnt on the job, as per se? Like, how much of it do you think you had an idea of before, or has a lot of it just been like you've just been learning as you've been going, and you've probably found as though maybe doing has been a lot more beneficial?
Yeah, as I was saying, I have always been creative, and I've always loved painting, but never thought that I had enough talent to be a visual artist. So for the past 2 years, and when I started with polymer clay, all of that was learnt on the job.
Yeah.
So I just got stuck into it. I learned different techniques. So as I was going and selling my pieces, they were evolving with my skill.
Yeah.
And different talents, and definitely on the job. And so as I've moved into visual art more recently, in the last couple of months, it was more realizing that I was capable of doing that. I've always loved painting, and I used to paint years ago and didn't take it serious back then because I just couldn't find my style.
Yeah.
And I don't think I had enough confidence within myself or the right mindset to take it anywhere.
Yeah.
So now learning what I've learnt in the last 2 years, and progressing through those different skills, and networking, and I've actually spoken to an amazing mindset coach, which I highly recommend people do if they're feeling stuck or they want to tackle the next challenge. It's an amazing help. Really, you could have some imposter syndrome or some mind blocks, and you can work through those to take you to your next achievement. It's kind of just, the business is just evolving as I evolve. So where my, I guess, creativity evolves, that's where I'm taking the business.
And some of the mentors you mentioned, how many sort of mentors do you say you would have? Because obviously some people have one mentor, but then other people have many mentors, and some people have mentors that they probably don't even meet, they just listen to or read material. Who's been sort of a mentor towards you, someone inspirational, or who has that been?
I've got a business coach now. actually, and she's amazing. So we're kind of going back to the fundamentals of the business. So I speak with her a lot around the business side of things, funnels, sales, email marketing, and so on. But then, the other lady that who's a mentor is the mindset coach. Her name's Sarah, and she's phenomenal. So there's those two, but also, like you say, there is so many people out there who are your mentor. They don't know sometimes that they are. Like I absolutely fell in love with a visual artist named Maggie McDonald back when I first started, and I reached out to her towards, I think I was in business maybe 6 months, and I reached out to her and said, can I use your colour palette on a pair of earrings and name them Maggie? And she's so wonderful, and she's very well known, and her work is absolutely beautiful. And she said yes.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So she, through doing that, and I've been watching her and following her and having conversations with her around, certain things, creativity, art, and so on. And so she probably doesn't know.
Yeah.
that she's a bit of a mentor for me,
Yes.
but she definitely is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting, that you point that out, like a lot of people can be. But there's other podcasts that I listen to. There's another one, Sarah Cross. So she's a retail, sort of like a retail sales manager, I think. So she's quite inspirational. And Catherine Langham, she knows a lot about business. So there's quite a few women in business who, I've found and sort of really stuck by what their guidelines, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot you can take from people just by listening and implementing small things. And, you can't follow one person's path, I don't think.
No.
You kind of have to,
Yeah.
kind of spread your wings a little.
Yeah.
Not too far, because then you get a bit lost.
No, I get it.
But, taking little bits and pieces from different women, especially over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's just been, really good.
What was it like in the beginning when you're setting up your business in terms of your feelings? Were you feeling nervous, because, you may be thinking to yourself, are people even going to buy what I'm creating? All those kinds of feelings. Did you have those?
Yes, absolutely. Especially at the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, because I thought, okay, what I'm making is cute.
Yeah.
What I like it, so maybe someone else would like it.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of starts like that, and you notice, you're putting things on social media, and then you get a few nice comments, and you're like, okay, well maybe somebody might buy it.
Yeah.
And then you price it, and then you sell a couple of pieces, and you think, okay, and it takes a while.
Yeah.
To be comfortable in selling your work as well, to feel confident that it is cute, or it is nice, or it is going to be fashionable, or it is what people want. Like it takes good, 18 months, I think, to really have that confidence set in stone. But it was just a lot of trial and error as well. Like I used to attend markets for the first couple of years. So I would, create different pieces and see how, what people were looking at on the table. You set it out and you notice what they're looking at and what they're picking up to see closer, or, they might comment about the price, or so it was a lot of research. A lot of research, especially the first sort of 6 to 12 months. And then,
And has there ever been a point where you've thought to yourself, am I doing the right thing?
I think there was recently. Yeah, there definitely was. I got a message from a random person on Instagram, and it was just a bit odd, like what they were saying about my work, and I just thought, what is this really about? And then it kind of put a bit of how could I say, doubt. It put a doubt in my mind, like am I really going to be painting?
Yeah.
Is this going to be my dream? Is it going to come to fruition?
Yeah.
You know, like this person's messaged me, they don't know me, they don't know my work, they don't know my story. Like, you know, other people's influence is not really, in a negative sense, it's not really about me. It was about that other
Them
person.
and, yep.
Yeah, so I talked it over with a few friends and kind of came to that realisation that it had nothing really to do with me and I should keep pushing through.
Yeah.
But at that point, it was the first time in years that I'd thought, wow, like maybe this isn't the right path.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, like, what am I doing? Am I really good enough to paint?
Yeah. That's a shame that, because that, I can note now that we live in a time where, you know, we've got like Facebook, Instagram, and we utilize those for our businesses in order to show the world, show people what we're creating. The unfortunate thing is that we are sort of leaving ourselves open to criticisms from people. But, you know, I like what you said there where, you know, obviously, and I like to say to people, like, you know, at first it's okay to think, am I doing the right thing, right? Because that's just, I guess, a normal human reaction. But then for you to then realise, well, maybe it's not me, it's this person, and you don't know why but something's maybe happened to them.
Something's triggered them.
Yeah, to do that. And I do feel as though some people are good enough to come back from the negative criticism, but I do feel as though some people can get a bit sort of pulled down by the criticism as well, and that's probably maybe one of the negatives, I'd say, of social media. And has it only been like sort of the one negative experience you have had?
Yeah, just one. Yeah. Anything else that you know, people may have commented or mentioned or anything, I've just brushed it off. It's been fine. But you know, the thing with my painting is that it really comes from my soul, and I feel like it's my soul's work, and I think that's why I've never wanted to tackle it, because I feel like if I do it and it's a failure, then I would then be a failure, or my dreams would just be crushed. You know, so this was so personal, what the person was saying about my work and my painting, and I was just crushed, and I just thought... But then at the end of the day, you know, as I said, it wasn't really about me and my work. It was something, obviously, that's triggered them. And just for me, having that mindset, like, no, this is what I want to do. I haven't done anything to upset anybody. You know, I'm still true to myself and true to, you know, my work. And I will continue. You know, you can't... I just don't like that feeling of having someone else try to influence you in a way where you would stop doing something you're so passionate about. You know, you don't need that.
But unfortunately it happens.
Oh, it does,
Today, you'll probably no doubt talk to many a businesswoman who have probably had someone say something negative towards them, and you've probably seen them go through something similar. So I guess it might be one of those things that we've just got to have to understand and know that, you know, it's going to happen, unfortunately. So so you mentioned you're coming into 3 years. Is there anything that you sort of know now that you wish you knew earlier on?
Maybe just to keep pushing through. Like, I mean, there has been other times where you're not sure which direction to go. But no, you know, I don't think so. Like, I don't think I would be where I am now if I had have changed anything. Do you know what I mean?
No, totally understand.
Yeah.
I like to say that as well, you know, like I believe, you know, wherever I am now is
where you're meant to be.
Is where I'm meant to be, you know, and I would never go back and change, even though, you know, we're going through our situation, you know, with Archer and that. Like, I'll never think to myself I'd go back, because part of it is the experience of making you who you are as well.
Yes.
And so I like that. That's what you've said. Another reason why I like talking to people like Tara is that I always like to say that, you know, one of the toughest, one of the hardest jobs is being a mother. right?
Yes. 100%.
Because there's it's, us dads, we love our kids and what have you, but the emotional level that a mother has towards their children is more than us dads, and I'm not trying to say it in a way like, we'd love them less, but it's just,
Yeah.
it is what it is. So, and I like hearing stories like yours where, you got to that point where you realised, you didn't want to go back to full-time employment, you couldn't, and so you looked for something, something that you could do that could sort of still give you that flexibility, that you can still be there for your kids. If there's other mothers out there that are in a similar situation, like, is there a message that you'd have for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's having Casey with the rare chromosome disorder and the needs that he has is quite high. You do have to look after yourself, and as I said, I do have 3 small kids. They're 7, 5 and 3 now, and it is exhausting. It's mentally draining, it's emotionally draining and physically draining, and it did take me quite a while to realise I need to have my own outlets.
Yep.
Because especially Casey's first year, it was really intense. He had, I don't know, I think I counted maybe 80 appointments the first year, and it was on average 2 a week, whether it was therapy or seeing a specialist. And so, it was time consuming. I wouldn't say I lost my identity as such, but I got very involved in the children, which of course is natural and completely normal, and that's my role as their mother, is to completely take care of them, which of course I did, with the help of my husband. And but yeah, I realized then, you do need your own time, you need your own to work towards your own goals. So at a point, when I was at a point where I could do that, because it's not always achievable, and I think that's really stressful for mums as well. When people say, "Oh, just take some time out," or just look after yourself, or not everybody can. And I couldn't at the time. And it's only the last couple of years that I have been able to, because Casey is that bit older. But when he was a baby, and definitely for the first 2.5 to 3 years, I couldn't have the time to myself. My husband's working full time. My mum had just passed away. My father passed away when I was younger. I don't have family here. And of course we did utilise our friends for a lot of support, but at the same time, you can't just say, "Hey, Mum, come and watch the kids. I'm just going to go to the shops." It wasn't like that for us. So I think it's really important for mums to know that it's okay as well if you can't take the time, because you will. And take it when you can, but don't feel, there's extra guilt because people say, "Take time for yourself," but you can't. So then in their mind, it's like, oh, how do I deal with my kids, and then deal with society telling me I have to take time to look after myself, and I can't look after myself, and then there's extra shame on top of that, if that makes sense.
Yes, no, I totally understand what you're saying.
So I think I would just love mums, especially those with kids who are either on the spectrum or they have disabilities, look for those supports and reach out where you can. And I've always said, especially on social media, if anybody needs to chat, I'm always open for a discussion. If anybody needs support, especially, around kids who have special needs, I don't know absolutely everything, but I can point people in the right direction, or, because since Casey's been born, I've met so many amazing people. People, I had no idea that I would have such a supportive network. The amount of mums that I know who have children with high needs and who are there for each other, it's amazing. So when you first have a baby and then you realise, oh my gosh, they're different. We were discussing earlier, you think you're alone, but you're not.
Never alone.
Never.
Yeah.
You always have people, but you just need to, I think, put yourself out there as well, because it can be so scary to just, pick up the phone and call someone you don't know and ask for help.
Yeah.
Or reach out. You don't want to feel like a failure, or I think it's also hard because you don't know what questions to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely something that, particularly as soon as he was born, we knew he was different. He has some physical changes. And so he was born and I was like, oh, our son's different.
Yeah.
And then he stopped breathing. He went to intensive care and so on. And we were just a bit in shock. What do we do? And then that's when, you realise, oh, I have to ask the questions. I have to put that hat on where I'm that person that's going out and finding the information, and picking up the phone and asking random people for help, like doctors or specialists or even just friends on Facebook, that you think they might not understand, but you got to kind of just do it to save your sanity as well as help your kids, so. But yeah, for mums, try and hang in there,
Yeah.
because everything's okay, even though it might feel like it's not. It always will be. And there's people out there to support and try and find a creative avenue. I think creativity is amazing for your self-therapy. And meditation as well. Is amazing.
Well, we talked about earlier before recording how we do live in this time where there is avenues to show people your creativity, and if you are creative, as you said, like now is one of the best times to be sharing whatever it is that you're creative with, to let the rest of the world see, and you really don't know what's going to happen, do you?
Yeah, exactly. You just put it out there and people will love it or hate it, and then you pivot. And that's the thing with social media, that you can do that. And just starting your own little business, you can adapt and change. You can get that feedback on social media, see what people love, see what they don't like so much. One
thing I forgot to ask you, how do you deal with judgment? Because you're talking about mothers before. You have mothers. Some mothers say take time for yourself, and then some mothers can be a bit like stressed because I can't take time for myself, and then they think they're doing a bad thing because So there's all this judgment everywhere. How do you deal with it yourself personally?
I've learned to just sort of brush it off a bit. I don't have time for negativity in my life, and since having Casey and my mum passing so closely together, you kind of realise, life's too short. And so when people do sort of pass those judgments or, happen to bring some negativity my way, I kind of try and just, not get caught up. I think, just stay focused on what I'm doing, what the kids need. But I just try and channel my energy where I know it's going to be positive and have a positive impact on myself, my family, and definitely the business as well, and my customers, because that's really important to be there for them as well. No,
that's great. So just in finishing, thanks for coming on, sharing the story of your business. What's the best way that people can follow you, contact you? What would be the best way of them?
Thanks, Elliot. So people can find me at Instagram or Facebook. And so my Instagram handle is @byTaraLouise. I also have a website, which is www.bytaralouise.com.au. As I said, on Facebook, I've got a makers group on Facebook as well, which is for anyone who is making polymer clay earrings or resin earrings or any visual arts that they might need extra support with, or they want to just follow along. So I do a little bit of, not as much as I would like to, with time restraints, but a lot of us, the members of that group are people who I have taught either in person or online. So we share a lot of techniques and a lot of information about different materials and stuff. So if anyone wants to join, they can find that on Facebook.
That's actually great that you said that, like that you're more than willing to, because I think some people can be quite, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Like closed about whatever it is they're doing, not willing to share, protective, and which, part of me understands, but at the same time, for you to be more than willing to help out, that's amazing. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's really important though, as a creative person to share that, because I want, how are people going to learn?
Yeah.
It took me a very long time to find all the information at the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's time consuming. When you find something you love, you just want to know everything.
Yeah.
I think that's one reason why I'm so willing to give the information of how to do things, because I just want other people to do it and love it as much as I do. I want them to pick up a piece of clay and love that feeling and love creating, and I want them to feel that joy. It's not really about the sales, of them purchasing something that I've made. It's more like, sharing the love, I guess. Nice.
No, it's great to hear. So once again, thank you for coming on to the podcast, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Elliot.
Hope you enjoyed that episode. I've got plenty more videos like that up on the channel. If you can check it out, that'll be great. If you did like the episode that you just watched, please feel free to leave a comment, hit the like button, and if you can, please support me by hitting the subscribe button, like the page on Facebook, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Catch you.